Well, that is former Governor Mike Huckabee announcing on Saturday night on his show, Huckabee, here on Fox News Channel, that he will not run for the president in 2012. And that has sort of upset the apple cart in the GOP line of who's going to be now the front runner. Huckabee, of course, was one of the top poll numbers in the GOP lineup. We're going to talk about that and more with our panelists. Republican strategist Philip Pito is here in the studio with me, and down in D.C. is Richard Fowler, a Democratic strategist. Richard, I always got to start with you because you're further away. I feel I don't want to leave you out here. What do you think with Huckabee bowing out? Was it something that the Democrats expected, or is this a surprise for them?
Well, I am not sure if it's something that we expected. We're happy that it happened. I think what it does is it shows that the Republican field is still sort of in a shuffle here. There's no clear front runner, and that means that there's going to be definitely some tough primary competitions. And tough primary competitions are better for the Democrats because the Republicans will spend a lot more money on the primary trying to figure out who's going to run against President Barack Obama. Do I think it would have been a good idea for Huckabee to run if I were a Republican? I think so. I think he'd be a great candidate, a great addition to probably one of their best bets at beating Barack Obama going into 2012. But with that being said, I think you have to look at the current field as it is, and in my mind, I sort of see that, this is Mitt Romney's game now that Mike Huckabee is out.
Yeah, Flip, the implication now, there is no clear front runner. Does that worry the GOP?
No, I don't think so. I think to have a fluid field at this stage is normal and healthy. I think it does tend to make Romney the real front runner, as in a lot of the mainstream polls. He and Huckabee sort of shared the top spot. But it's interesting, given that Huckabee, perhaps among the field of well-known candidates, is particularly well concentrated sort of in the sector of the GOP that he tends to cultivate, being the religious and social conservatives. So to see where that vote now goes, it likely does not go a lot to Romney, but possibly to Palin, to Gingrich, to Santorum.
But Romney had a problem with the evangelicals last time around.
He did.
They really had an issue with his Mormon faith. That's the vacuum that Huckabee filled.
Right.
You don't have that now. Mitt Romney may not, we're not quite sure if he's going to still have the problem with the evangelicals. He certainly agrees with them on their social issues, but will they get over the hump of this sort of religious conflict?
They may not. I mean, the real evangelical voters, I think, have a real problem with the Mormon identity of Romney, even though he obviously has not stressed that as a primary feature of his campaign. Evangelical voters nonetheless do see the religious identity of their candidates as significant. But I think ultimately, while we can say, who do the Huckabee voters now go to, and therefore who does his departure benefit, I think long term this benefits the economic and foreign policy focused candidates, because it further takes the religious and social issues off the table. I mean, this year already, or 2012 already, was looking to be squarely an economic, unemployment, financial focused election, with foreign policy as a not distant but second place set of priorities, with social issues clearly in third place. With Huckabee now out of the race, the only thing that was steering the conversation within the GOP primary back to the social issues is off the table. So I think we now really are going to see a conversation based on number one, economy, number two, foreign policy.
I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to get back to that later. But I want to bring in Richard because, Richard, now who would the Democrats, who would Obama prefer to go up against? The candidate that says, you know what, we like that one we can take a great aim at. Who would be the candidate?
Well, but I think we could really go against any of them and have a good competition, and President Obama would win. I think every Republican candidate in the field presents a problem. I think you have Mitt Romney, who we all know he passed universal health care in Massachusetts. That's his biggest problem going into the 2012 election. You have Tim Pawlenty's biggest problem being that he has his name ID is just not high enough, and I think he has some issues dealing with how the budget of his state was run after he left the governor's mansion, and how much deficit and how much debt the state got into. I think every candidate that you have your Donald Trump candidate out there who has tons of issues. The fact that he's giving more money to Democrats than he's given to Republicans. You have Michelle Bachmann's being that she doesn't really connect with everybody in the Republican base. She doesn't connect with the old guard Republicans. So I think every one of their frontrunners has a problem that that President Obama could definitely pick off. What I think, when it comes to national security, I think the president wins that debate hands down. The fact that we captured Osama bin Laden which George Bush wasn't able to do in 6 years of his presidency, shows that President Obama is committed to foreign policy. And when it comes to the economy, I really think that we'll see an uptick in the economy. We're seeing jobs come back. So I think the Republicans are going to have a lot to answer on. Why is it that when they were in control of the House of Representatives, they really weren't pushing forward any clear policies?
Right.